entrepreneurs, we are busy, right? We do all the things. We wear all the hats. We have to know how to do everything, okay? So we might be the ones creating the product. We might be the ones who are also doing all of the networking. We're also making all the invoices. We're making all the proposals. We're doing everything, right? Think about how much you got done just last week, right? Like, we got a lot of stuff done. And because we have to wear all the hats, a lot of times we get stuck doing all the marketing too. But everything that you're trying to do yourself is client-facing, right? And we all know the importance of the client-facing stuff because you don't want them to go X and you're gone. So this is what not all the times, right? But a lot of times, here's a quick example of what can happen when we try to do all the marketing ourselves. You're allowed to laugh. Come on, that's funny. Come on. Stop there. Come on, y'all. It's funny. Listen up, it's Saturday. You're joking. What does that? Spell check? Anyone? Come on. Why didn't you just read it?
It's crazy.
That's a left arrow, people. And I just
Yesterday I came across this nutrition poster that had to do with the mushrooms, and they're button mushrooms. But the first word said button mushrooms, and the actual text said bottom mushrooms.
No.
Yeah.
See, you all, this is what happens when we try to do too much, right? Like, how important is, isn't it pretty? Like, somebody spent some time doing that, and they were really proud of it. Come on. Like, how many times? Like, but we have to, because we're entrepreneurs, right? And we're the ones that make it happen. Like, if we don't do it, it don't get done, right? But like, how many times would it just be helpful to have an objective person, right? Who's somebody just on the outside that can give you that second opinion, like, hey, can you just look at this real quick before you send it out? Or like, hey, like, I put all the stuff together that I wanted to say. Like, can you just polish this really quick, right? Like, sometimes that outside perspective can do wonders and save you from making silly mistakes.
Yeah, I had a friend recently who was publicizing an event that she was holding, and she posted the poster on Facebook, and I read it, and I read it again, and I read it again, and I finally was sure that the information wasn't on there, and I messaged her and I said, what date and time is this happening? And she went, oh my God, I was just about to send this to the printer. Yeah.
All the time.
So just having somebody else proof it.
Even just a second set of eyes. It's so critical. So, yeah, that's all I got. All right, so first impressions. It takes 7 seconds for that first impression. Sometimes faster. Sometimes people are a lot quicker on the draw, right? But we know because of research that first impressions are broken down into 3 components. Anybody care to guess what? All right, if you're going to judge someone, what are you judging them based on? Appearance. Okay, that's good. I'm out of order. Okay, your words, your voice, and your appearance.
Every hostess position is like this. I used to be a hostess, and that's what they would talk about.
Yes, see? Research, people, research. I'm not just making this up. Okay, so here's the breakdown. Anybody care to guess which one is which? All right, 7%, the smallest one up there. What do you think it is?
Words.
Boom, you're still right. 38%.
Voice.
Boom. I love it, y'all are so good. Here's that part. And 55 is your appearance. People are judgy. We're judgy, you guys. We are, right? So, I can't even stress this enough. Like, so what first impression are you giving off, right? We don't know, and we're too close to it. Even as a marketing firm, like, we have outside people who are giving us advice on our brand image, our brand voice. Like, can we just run this by you? Like, we think this is how it's coming across, but like, is that actually the message that we're portraying? Like, you gotta get that objective eye on there. So, I want you to turn to the person next to you and tell them, what first impression are they giving off? I'm just kidding, don't do that. What do we talk about? People are judging, be nice. Don't do that. executing them with finesse are two totally different things, right? Like, you may kill the message, like you may have this brilliant idea, but like if somebody sees it and they like don't even give it a second look because it's ugly, or like it was unprofessionally done, like you've wasted that opportunity, right? And sometimes you only get that one opportunity. All right. Okay, so now we've all decided we're gonna hire a designer, get a second opinion, right? Anyways, so when you finally make that decision, there's several different kinds of designers. So we're gonna dive in really quick and talk about what kind of designer you need. Okay, so design is a trade-off. If you have a very, very, very experienced designer, it's gonna cost you some money. It's gonna be an investment. But chances are, they're gonna be really good at what they do, and they can do it really fast. So they may have a higher rate, but they can do it in a quarter of the time that a new designer can probably do it in, right? On the other side, there's time involved, right? Freelancers might be able to do it a little bit quicker,
Yeah.
right? They might, but, no, actually I can't even say that. So freelancers are a little bit different because freelancers, they're a little bit more like you tell them what to do and they're going to do exactly that, right? You can say, if you have this perfect vision, go freelancer, right? We're going to unpack that. So freelancers, they have a lower rate. They're a single entity. They're not typically attached to anybody else. So they can charge a lot less, right? Because they don't have a studio, they don't have like business insurance, they don't have all the things that studios typically have to pay for, right? They have flexible timelines. They, a lot of times, will work any time of the day they want to work. They can work in the middle of the night. They can work at 3 o'clock in the morning when they're up and they can't sleep. They can work anytime. So they might be able to be like, yeah, I can have that to you in 2 days. And they can knock the whole thing out. But chances are like they also don't have a lot of experience or clients, and so like you are their sole focus, okay? So like I was saying earlier, they follow exact directions. So if you have this vision of something that you know exactly what you want it to look like, freelancer is a great route to go because you can be like, I want this to be green, I want this to have a purple smiley face, I want this to have vertical stripes, right? And they'll be like, got you, I got it, I'll do it. Okay, so on the other side, excuse me, go back up. Freelancers, we keep talking. So if you have an illustration, right? Like, so just let me give you some examples. If you have an illustration, you're like, this would be perfectly illustrated if I could have a bunny rabbit in a birthday hat carrying a wand. Silly instruction, right? But if you know exactly what you want, then hire a freelancer. You'll get it for a lot cheaper, and a lot of times they can specialize, right? So your freelancer might be an illustrator. Your freelancer might be great at content writing. Your freelancer might be great at vector illustrations. Whatever it is, a lot of times they have these specialties that you can tap into and find different ones for different things. So infographics, this is another thing. If you have like a one-off infographic, this is a good thing to tap into a freelancer for. You have a lot of data, you have a lot of cool statistics, and you just need it to look good, right? Photoshop skills, this is great. So you have a weird family photo and Aunt May missed the family reunion, but her face has to be in this picture or everyone's gonna be upset, right? They can help you, like it takes a lot of skill, but like that's all it takes, right? It takes us good design skills, but not a lot of like strategy. Heavy production jobs, if you need a simple little thing, but you need it done like 50 million times, this is a good thing to hire a freelancer for. They can get it done cheaper, they can get it done faster. Posters, you've got like a band that is having an event, or you have something you want to display in your office, or an inspirational quote. That's great for freelancers. And personal invitation, so Etsy, great for that. Fiverr, freelancers, you can find freelancers anywhere. Fiverr, freelancer.com. I can introduce you to 8 right now as we speak. They're everywhere, okay? I can hook you up if you need them. But basically, kind of the delineation here is that like freelancers are very talented, but they, like a lot of times they'll help you make it look really, 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 really good, but it doesn't have like an overarching strategy or like that big picture goal in mind, all right, for the long term. Okay, so design studios, again, there's a time and place for both of it, all right? I'm not here to be like, come work with us, we do awesome things. Like, I'm here to educate, all right? Throwing it all out there. So design studios a lot of times have multiple people, right? So in our design studio, for instance, we have 7 designers, but we also have a content strategist, a marketing strategist, a digital strategist, and then on the other side we have business development. So there's all these different types of creative minds, and so when you have all those people in one place, like the strategy can get a lot bigger, right? You kind of zoom out, you can think bigger, and it's really more of a long-term relationship, especially when it comes to your business, right? Business, when there's money on the line, and there's like decisions that you have to make, like you can't afford to walk into a room with your arm painted pink, right? If it's painted pink, they're gonna laugh at you, and they'll be like, why'd you do that? You're missing like really fundamental things. But like the design studio can help you navigate, like, okay, this is a print piece, it has to be set up exactly this way. This is a printer that you can work with. Here's some really cool tricks that the printer can do to make it stand out just a little bit more. And like they have that industry knowledge, and they can all tap into each other's minds, so they know a lot more. All right, they work in all mediums. Oh, there we go again. Sometimes freelancers have their specialties, like I was talking about, but you might find a freelancer who only does web, or you might find one that only does print, or whatever the case may be. But in a design studio, they'll have a little bit of everything, and so again, it's that collective knowledge under one roof. They do more than draw pictures, they can tell stories. Again, so when you hire a designer, like if it's a freelancer, a lot of times they'll tell you, you've got to tell me exactly what it has to say, and I'll make it look good, right? So when you go to a design studio, chances are they'll have a content writer on hand, and so they can navigate that process too, right? Because sometimes we don't know, right? You're like, here's this really cool message, I don't know how to say it to engage my specific audience, right? Or like there may be a huge age gap. Like this product is for millennials, and I'm 60. I don't know how to talk to the millennials, right? And they can kind of help guide that process, and they can take larger amounts of work on. We just got a client, and they were like, we've been working with a freelancer for years, and they just like we're too big for them. Like there's too much, they can't get it all done, right? And so they're like, we've been trying to get X, X, and X done for months, and it's too much for them to handle. So like they can't get to it all. And so we started working with them, and like a week in, we had finished all of that and all of the next quarter's design project, right? Because it can go a lot faster when you have more people working on it. And 5 times the expertise. Again, collective. It's the collective knowledge, getting them all in a room, you can brainstorm, and they can see it from a lot of different angles. Okay, I love this guy. This is Napoleon Bonaparte. I'm pretty sure this is like a Barbie doll. As close as I can find. That wasn't a weird illustration. Anyways, Napoleon Bonaparte. He was a scary dude, right? This picture's not so scary, but just imagine. He was awful. He had servants that would dress him in his battle gear when they were getting ready to go into battle. And he would be in a hurry a lot of times, right? But when he was in a hurry, he was really intimidating. And so his people, like his servants that were dressing him, would get really nervous, and they would inevitably mess up. Think about a corset. You've got a corset, it's got all those buttons and all those loops. You mess up one time, you get to the bottom, and you realize you're one off. Like, you got to start all over, right? So he got in the habit of telling his people, slow down, I'm in a hurry. Slow down, I'm in a hurry. Y'all, there's a lot of wisdom in this, so I just want to slow down for a minute and unpack, right? We get people tell us all the time, they come and they're like, okay, we've got to have this website, or we got to have this brochure, or we got to have this logo, this brand created, but we don't have a budget. Like, why don't you have a budget? Or like, it's marketing, like you have a budget for marketing. They're like, well, we just paid somebody to do this, and we were so frustrated with the way it turned out. Like, and so now we're coming to you, we know you're a little bit more expensive, but like we're ready to do it right this time. Like, why not just slow down and do it right the first time, right? There's a lot on the line, especially in business. Okay, so now the good part. How do you save money? We're gonna hire a designer. This could be a designer or a design studio. These are all good tips. And this is just in general too, when working with creative individuals, okay? Get a designer involved up front. I know we talked about this earlier. We were working with the Bernard-Kendall County Economic Development Corporation, and they were like, okay, we want to work with you. They're like, we have all these ideas, all these things that we want to do. This is like a one-year vision that we have for our company. We're like, okay, we got it. And they're like, okay, we've got to figure some things out. Like, we'll come to you when we're ready. And we're like, cool, right? So as diligent follower-uppers, speaking of words now, we would reach out to them and poke them and be like, hey, are you ready? Like, we're here to help you whenever you're ready to get started. No pressure. Like, we know you want to get this done, so let us know what we can do to help. And they're like, oh no, we're still trying to figure some things out. And then like a month later, we're like, okay, we'll check in again. And then a month later, and so we're like, okay, let's just get back on the same page. Like, we're gonna come to you. Let's just talk it out. And they're like, okay, like we want to do this print brochure, but we don't know if it should be a folded brochure. We don't know if it should be a single-sided paper. Like, we're not really sure what it should say. We're like, why are you trying to figure that out by yourself? Like, that's what we can do to help you. Like, you don't have to figure out all the things. Like that's the biggest place where we can add value up front, is that we, as creative people, we see things in a different way, right? Like, we're problem solvers. Entrepreneurs, I would say y'all are the same exact way. We all are, right? We have to see the problem in a different way. So get them involved up front. A lot of times, they'll give you a free consultation, and then you can just like brainstorm it and figure it out. And then you're like, boom, done. There's your idea. Don't try to figure it out. Okay, brainstorming ways to repurpose artwork. Very much like if you buy a stamp. There's this one upfront cost of buying the stamp, and then you can stamp it on everything, right? When you create your artwork or when you create your brand, it's very similar. There is going to be an upfront cost, but if you can figure out a way early once the design is made, what all can we put it on, right? Because there's, like, people don't go to the same places, right? Like, you may not go to Facebook, you may not go to Instagram, you may not go to Eventbrite, you may not go to my store, and you might not be seeing my flyers. So it behooves you, if you're gonna market, to try to get it in as many places as you can, so that the most people can be reached, right? That's not rocket science, right? Did I lose you? Okay, come on, it's Saturday, let's remember. Okay, so once that initial artwork is applied, this goes to as far as like branding, like once you get that initial logo developed, or once you get that initial like campaign design, what all can you put it on? And every time, like, if the designer knows up front they're gonna be working on this suite of things, they can do it all at once, and it goes way faster than if they had to quote each piece individually, right? So if you come and like, I need an Eventbrite image. Okay, then 2 weeks later, now I need a Facebook image. They have to pull up all the files again. They have to remember what the project they were working on. They have to remember what's the purpose of this, who's seeing it. But if they can just do it all at once, like they can have one big artboard open, and they can just be like, okay, this one has to be that size, this one has to be that size, this one has to be that size. It's all the same stuff, and you go, done, right? So figure out a way to use it in a bunch of places. Templates. This is a good one. A lot of designers won't tell you this, okay? Designers can work in just about any program you can think of. It does not just have to be their Adobe fancy programs, right? There's Google Slides. This is in Google Slides. It's nothing amazing, but it's in Google Slides, and it's clean, and it's practical, right? When you start working with a designer, every time you need a change on something, you're gonna have to go back and you're gonna pay them to make those updates, make those changes. So if it's a document that you know you're gonna have to make really frequent updates to, or last minute changes, or maybe it's a menu, or maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's a PowerPoint, and like, you're you're speaking and you might want to change your slide deck at the very last minute. Tell them up front. Don't tell them after. Once they get started, you will not get those savings. But if you can make it a template up front, this can be Keynote. This can be, probably not Pages. They can do Keynote. They can do PowerPoint. They can do Excel. Like, there's really cool things they can do just because they have that designer's eye. Like, anything they touch is going to look good, right? Okay. Get organized. There is a list of things that a designer is going to need to know for every single project that you're going to create, right? Where is it going? What purpose is it serving? Who's going to see it? What action do you want them to take after they see your message? Are there any special size requirements or specs like if you're in a magazine ad? When do you need it by? What's your budget? If you email the designer and you're like, hey, I need help with a project, give me a quote. They're like, what? You didn't tell me anything about your project, right? So this is a good way to save time, but also money, right? Because if you're organized and you can tell them all these things up front, then they don't have to go back and forth and back and forth and back and forth and try to pick and pull it out of you a little bit at a time. Okay, budget. Nobody wants to talk about their budget, right? But you have to, right? In business, business revolves around money. There's going to be money involved. If you can be transparent about your budget up front, they will figure out a way to work with you to get it done for your budget. In design, there's a million solutions. There is not just one solution. Everything's a solution to a designer. And parameters are what help designers figure out what that solution is. So if you, like, there will be back and forth, right? Like we just had a client, and they're like, budget is not an issue. Like, it's not an issue. And we're like, okay, great. Like, if budget's not an issue, like, we're gonna make this amazing for you. So we came back with a proposal, and we're like, all right, we're gonna do a website for you, and it's gonna have animations, and it's gonna have movement, and it's gonna have parallax, and it's gonna have like all these cool interactive features, right? And then they come back and they're like, okay, so our budget is $2,500. We're like, can we? I thought we already had this conversation, right? Like, budget, get it out of the way up front, because if they know your budget's $2,500, they're not going to waste their time trying to come up with these like crazy solutions for a different budget that they might think you're working against, right? Because there's solutions for everything. I can't even stress it enough. Like, for instance, we have 3 website packages. Like, someone comes in and they're like, I just need it to look good. It doesn't need to do anything fancy. I just need it to look good. We're like, cool, we've got a package for that. Like, this is nothing crazy. It's just going to make you look good. And then we have the middle package, and then we have the top package, right? This top package is like, you want all the bells and whistles, and you want to be here, right? Just give them at least a starting point, even if it's a range, a loose range, like $1,000 to $2,000. If it's $10,000 to $20,000, like, the solution will come from whatever your budget is, not the other way around. Okay? A lot of times there's set pricing, but sometimes there's not, and you never know unless you ask. Okay, yeah, so budget. People a lot of times say, well, I don't even know how much I'm supposed to be spending. 3%, 3 to 5% is typically a good guess on that. So here's just a couple. If you're bringing in $100K a year as a business, about $3,000 is a good marketing budget. $500,000, you're looking at 15,000-ish. $1 million, $30,000 design budget. You never know where the people are going to land, right? So it's a good starting point, but no one business is the same, so you got to figure that out on your own. Ask about a retainer. This is not a scary word. Y'all, I used to hear this word and I'd be hiding my wallet. I was like, I can't afford it. Whatever it is, the word retainer's involved, I'm out. But then we started offering retainers, and I'm like, this is brilliant. Why doesn't everybody do this, right? So when you ask for a retainer, it's just a way to get your hours at a discounted rate. Like, you're upfront saying, I know for sure I'm going to use 20 hours this month, so instead of paying full price, I want a discount because I guarantee you that work. So they're not long, they don't have to be long-term either. Some people will put you in a retainer, they're like, if you're getting a retainer, it has to be at least a year-long commitment. That does not have to be the case. Like, you never know unless you ask, right? Our studio, for instance, our minimum engagement is only 3-month retainer for 20 hours. That's not very much at all, and you're getting a discount on your rates. And then the more hours you bite off on, the more of a discount you get. So even if you're gonna have that conversation about a retainer, ask them, like, what's the maximum discount I get? For us, like, it's 40 hours is the top, and you get a 15% discount on your hours. That's a huge discount, okay? Oh, yeah, this is a good idea. Like, well, people are like, well, how do I know how much you can do in that many hours, right? All of these things were done in 3 months at our lowest retainer, 20 hours a month, 3 months in a row. We got all that work done. That's a lot of work, right? How many times as entrepreneurs do we be like, I'll do that next year? Or like, oh, that's a great idea, but I'll do it next month. Or I'll do one thing at a time. Like, I'll do this one this quarter, and I'll do this one this quarter. Yo, I get it, I do it, right? We all do it. But if you can commit up front to be like, you know what, this is the year. This is the year. I'm gonna get all my marketing materials. How much more helpful would it be to have those tools in your arsenal if you can get them all done at once and you get them for cheaper because you win the discount retainer off. Negotiate your contract. If applicable, ask for a nonprofit rate. They may not always be advertising their nonprofit rate. Like, guarantee you, well, I can't guarantee that. A lot of people will have a nonprofit rate, but you never know unless you ask. They may not realize that you're a nonprofit. So always ask. And secondly, there's typically 2 different rates for 2 different types of design work. So there's one type of design work called creative, and it's coming up with brand new ideas. So you might be like, I know I want to do a really cool brochure, but I don't know what that looks like. I don't know what that means. I don't know what paper to put it on. I don't know how it should fold, all the things. So that's creative. That's when they're coming up with new ideas, pitching new solutions. And then there's the other side when you have, okay, here's my campaign. It's already been established. Now I just need it put on 40 different things. That is called production work. It's the kind of like mindless work that designers do that just, it takes a lot of skill because they have to still know like what programs to use and all the dimensions and all like, is it CMYK, is it RGB, is it 72 pixels, is it 300 pixels, like all the things, right? But like the production work is cheaper. And the creative work is a little more expensive. So some studios will have a blended rate, but some studios will let you separate it out. And so if you tell them like, or say you get their proposal and you're like, this is a little too expensive, like is there any way to get it down? Like I know my work is only production. Like do you have a production rate? That question, that's gold. You'd be like, oh, you know what, actually, okay, yeah, we'll work with you because it really is just production. We'll bring it down a little bit. Inspiration images. You guys, designers are visual thinkers. You could say, I want this fresh, vibrant brand, okay? In your mind, or in their minds, I'm gonna paint you a couple of pictures. Fresh and vibrant, okay? My solution could be the McDonald's brand, right? Fresh and vibrant, right? It's bright, it's colorful, it's got good photography. All right, fresh and vibrant. I can come back and I can give you the Nike brand. Fresh and vibrant, right? Okay, or I can come back and give you Chuck E. Cheese. Fresh and vibrant, right? Words to designers don't mean much. Right? Like, we have words for everything. Give them pictures. This is what they know. This is what's gonna help you really hone in and get to the solution that you have in your brain. Because we all know what we like, right? Pinterest, anybody use Pinterest?
Yep.
Easy to use, right? Designers love Pinterest. I guarantee you they already have an account. Create a visual mood board for them. Just gather all the things. Be like, here's all the things I like on one board in one place, and just send it to them. And they'll be like, I see. I've got your whole vision. But it took 2 seconds as opposed to trying to like say all these things with your words. And then with all the words, you can still end up with a different solution.
I would add to that, include words about why you like each thing. I'm a web developer.
Great.
And sometimes people send me images. And the thing that they liked about it was like one little tiny part of it, but they didn't tell me that. And I give them back something that looks like it, and they're like, what is this? And I'm like, it's your image you sent me.
Exactly.
Yeah, so tell them what you like about that image.
Amen, sister. All right. Deliver your content in the timed format. Now, this is really obvious, but so many people don't do it. They're going to be like, here's my brochure. This has all my content. Okay, one, you're opening yourself up for a world of typos. And two, like, that is time. That is time that you're paying them to type up the content that you already had typed up. It doesn't make sense. Okay, save yourself an hour. Type up your content. That's all I got. One voice is the best voice. Designed by committee, right? Boards, nonprofits, this is huge on nonprofits. Or like if you have, say you've got to working for a company and they have like 3 decision makers and not just 1 decision maker. Or you have your marketing person, but then they have to report up to the higher person and they have to report up to the higher person. There's lots of people involved in the decision making. Getting them on the same page is going to save you time. Because if you send out a mass email and you're like, hey, here's our first draft of our design, what do you think? You're going to get a lot of different responses. And if you opened that up for all that feedback to come back to the designer from all the different places, the designer's going to be like, who am I supposed to listen to? This person may be like, I hate that color, make it red. And that person's like, I love this color, it's perfect. And the other person's like, why is that so big? Make it smaller. And the other person's like, this needs to be way bigger. Just do yourself a favor. It's going to significantly decrease your bill if you can get all of that feedback collectively and then send one voice back to the designer with clear direction. And give your feedback in a clear way. So chances are your proof is going to go to your designer, or excuse me, it's going to come back to you in a PDF or a JPEG or something on the computer, right? Chances are they're not going to print it out and hand it to you. So, okay, show of hands. You get a proof, you want to give somebody feedback on it. You print it out, you scribble all over it, right? We're all inclined to do it. This is the most inefficient way to give a designer feedback, ever, period. Don't do that. They cannot read your handwriting, and it's vague. Or it's like comes in all in black and white, and you're like, what is this even talking about? Okay, so there are programs. There are lots of programs. Right? Adobe Acrobat is one of them. They have comment mode. You can put virtual little sticky notes right on the place. So you don't have to be like, on the 4th page, on the 2nd paragraph, in the 3rd sentence, on the 4th word. That should actually be in, not be. Just sticky note. Bam. Done. Okay? It'll reduce that time significantly from them having to decipher it. Because chances are they're going to have to come back and be like, what does that say? What did you think about it? I don't know. All right, and limit your round of revisions. So design studios, designers, they typically have a like a set number of revisions that they'll go back and forth with you on. It's their way, right? Like the Creative Parc way is 2 rounds of revisions on all of our projects. But again, if you never know, or if you don't ask, you never know. So if you come back and say, I'd really actually like to try to get my cost down a little bit, how can I do that? Sometimes they'll tell you, well, instead of 2 rounds of revisions, if we can kill it in 1 round of revisions, then we don't have to anticipate that couple extra hours at the end. That's a good way. But on the flip side too, if you're like really nervous about that whole thing, you can ask them to budget in 3 rounds of revisions or 4 rounds of revisions or however many revisions you want. They're not going to leave you hanging. Don't let them leave you hanging. All right, get an objective opinion. We talked about this earlier, but we turned to our neighbor and we were going to tell him, like, don't tell him. Yes, objective. It's good to have objective feedback. Don't operate in a vacuum. Okay, we're going to do a quick little exercise in case you're falling asleep on me. All right, it's Saturday. Wake up. Wake up. All right. This is how our mind works, okay? Which one of these numbers is least like the others? If you know this, don't say it out loud, but turn to You want a hint?
Yeah, I was
All
gonna
right,
say,
here's the
little
hint.
wine
It's the
injection.
only even number. All right, here you go. It's the number 2. It's not 13. It's the number 2. Okay? This is why it's so important to get an objective opinion. When we're in school, they teach us, if you put a period after something, you no longer consider it as part of the solution. Okay? As business owners, we have inherently put parameters on ourselves, right? We've said, these are the colors I like to use. These are the fonts I like to use. This is what I like to do in my social media. This is what I like to do. You are not your audience, and your audience is ruthless, right? We've all come to this conclusion. We're ruthless. So, get a second opinion. In marketing, there are hundreds of solutions, but you may only be seeing a fraction of them, right? Ask someone else help. Here you go. Okay, you guys, thank you for coming today. Before coming, I want to give you a free gift. I'm going to give you that objective opinion if you want it. Okay, we're just going to throw it out there. So this is a $250 value that our studio offers as a service. But you'll get 3 options that you'll get to pick from. It could be a website audit, it could be a social media audit, or it could be a print and logo audit. So basically what it is, it's a worksheet, and it's got 10 things that we look at when we're judging people. What we all look at when we're judging people, not just us, right? We all do. Established? Okay. At the end, it'll rank you. Each of those 10 things, it'll rank you from 0 to 10. At the end, you get a score, but it also gives you some really practical things that you can do, or like first steps you should take. It's not like, oh my gosh, you need this 2-year marketing plan. It's not that. It's like, here's your like next immediate thing that you can do to like help your brand. Okay, so picture a day when you are proud to give somebody your brochure, because it's awesome, right? Picture a day when you think your business is looking so good that you don't even have to sell it anymore. You just get to gush about it, right? Picture a day when you have leads coming in hand over foot because your marketing is doing your heavy lifting, right? Fake it till you make it. Right, so this is my grandpa. Both of my grandparents were printers for their entire careers. Isn't it cool? It's a printing press. Actually, it's a letter press. It's really old. He was 22 years old, so that was a long time ago. But he was this quiet, meticulous, careful man. Right? He was perfect to run a printing press. Because when you run a printing press, you have to ink it the same way every time. He had his little towel in the same place every time. He'd sit in his chair in the same place every time. And every single print that came out was perfectly uniform. It perfectly looked the same, which is what everybody's looking for in printing. Like, if you get one that looks one way and you get one that looks the other way, people are going to be really ticked off. So he was great at this job. Like, he got accolades from all of his superiors. Then you have my grandma. My grandma is probably what you would refer to as a bat out of hell. She was crazy. She's where I get my energy from her, right? Because she was crazy, but like she had this passion inside of her that people would fall in love with her, like the instant they met her. Okay, that same company tried to put her in the same role as my grandpa. It was not successful. It did not work. All of her pieces were sloppy, they were inconsistent. What she loved to do was work in the bindery. All right, for those of you who don't know what a bindery is, back before we had our fancy printers that would automatically collate all of our papers for us, she was sitting there with stacks of paper, and she would pick one off the top of each of the piles and assemble them and put them together. And she was so good at this, you guys. She was the fastest in the South. And when she was doing what she was meant to do, she was shining, right? And she loved it. Her bosses loved it. Like, that's what she was made for. Friends, can I just challenge you today? Like, I know there's some of us in the room that are doing way too many things. As entrepreneurs, we do it, right? We do all the things. But, like, if you design work. Let somebody who's more objective do your design work. How much less stress would that be on you, right? It would free up you to do the things that you're really good at, right? Oh, yeah, that's all I got. I feel you guys. I feel you. I'm an entrepreneur. I get it, right? Your marketing, you don't want to be the one walking in the room with your arm painted pink and everybody laughing at you. You don't want that. Get a second opinion. Let a designer in. Let them help you take your vision and make it professional. Right? Thank you guys. Y'all have a good week.